How to Train Your Useless Dragon by Mika Crispy on AO3. 21. How to Express Your Feelings. So, you're a dragon. That's cool. Never met a dragon before? Kaminari says, awkwardly, as soon as they're alone. I mean, I met Mina and Izuku, but I didn't know they were dragons. I just thought they lived in a weird place, and that Mina had a skin condition. They're walking aimlessly, away from the center of the village. Hitoshi doesn't say it, but he feels grateful for that. He doesn't think he'd like to be around so many humans. Usually Hitoshi doesn't even like being around too many dragons. Being around mobs of humans isn't what he'd consider a good idea. This blonde human, however, is different. He's so earnest. It's hard not to be fascinated by him. Dragon culture dictates one's feelings should be kept away from their thoughts. It's considered to be a sign of maturity, self-control, and wisdom to be able to not let your feelings leak through your thoughts and actions. That's why Shoto is already accepted as one of the elders. The young dragon is a prodigy in keeping his feelings locked away, and that's why Izuku has always been some kind of outcast. The small green dragon couldn't hide his emotions to save his life. Hitoshi likes that about Izuku, though. It's hard to know what you can trust when everyone is doing their best to hide what they're truly feeling about you. But with Izuku, it is easy. He always thinks what he honestly feels, and that's why he became Hitoshi's first and most precious friend. When the Violet Dragon came to look for his friend, he didn't expect to find someone even more genuine than Izuku. Denki not only expresses his emotions freely, he allows himself to feel them without any barriers. The small human, who didn't even know dragons could shapeshift, jumped in the dragon's defense against his friends when he thought that his friends had hurt the dragon's feelings. That instantly broke any preconception Hitoshi had of any humans, and made very curious to know about these Vikings, especially Kaminari Denki. And you're a human, Hitoshi says, observing the little human. Yes, I am, he answers eagerly. Have you met humans before? I can't say that I have. I don't work in the parties that deal with humans, so my experience with your kind is very limited. What do you work with? Kaminari asks, curiously. Magic. I study dragon magic on my own. That's why I mastered the transformation in my human form. Hitoshi knows he shouldn't explain anything about dragons' life, society, and magic to the pretty human. However, Kaminari's expression of awe when the dragon answers his question was enough to pull all these concerns to the back of his mind. That's so cool, the blonde says as sparkles in his eyes. Then he frowns. Wait, mastered? Is it, hard to look like us? It is not hard to do the shift, but it is hard to maintain the human form. Izuku and Mina never had issue keeping in their looks, Kaminari says thoughtfully. I mean, I like to think I'd noticed if one of them transformed into a dragon in the middle of our conversation. Izuku, Mina, and most of the dragons here have very unique circumstances. For example, Mina's position in the flock demands that she keeps her human form for the most part of the day. Izuku always plays around with the shift. He just likes to try keeping it up. Shoto couldn't become an elder without mastering every single one of his abilities. Same thing for Tenya. He isn't an elder yet, but he's come from a very influential family that values that kind of thing. The secrets Hitoshi knew he'd be killed for spilling come out of his mouth easily under the weight of Kaminari's eyes on him. It's hard to remember that humans are supposed to be terrifying and aggressive when talking to the blonde. And Ochako? Ochako will have more problems with that. I believe that's why Izuku and she stayed behind in the mountain forest. They need to be able to hide her amongst the trees. Oh! Kaminari looks at him with a bothered expression. I hope they're alright. I mean, I know Bakugo would never let anything bad happen to Izuku, but he's with Shoto, right? Should we go back and see if they need any help? Kaminari looks away towards the mountaintop with worry all over his face. The Viking just discovered Izuku is a dragon, and has known Ochako for less than half a day, but here he is, ready to run back to keep them safe. Hitoshi can't help but allow a small smile tug at his lips. I'm sure they'll be fine. They can fly away if they see danger approaching. Yeah, you're Probably right. Kaminari answers, though he still looks worried. What do you think the others are doing? Tenya dragged the redhead towards the center of the village, and I wonder if the blonde one stopped screaming at Shoto long enough for them to pick up something to do. Kaminari chuckles. Yeah, I don't think so. Bakugo's always loud, but he gets especially irritated when he's forced to stay away from Izuku. That opens a window of opportunity for Itoshi to make a few questions of his own. Can you tell me more about Bakugo's relationship with Izuku? What do you mean? Kaminari tilted his head in confusion. Are they like Kirishima and Mina? The human looks deep in thought for a second. I don't know. I never thought about it. They certainly very special to each other. I've never seen Bakugo care so much about anyone, and Izuku is always trailing after him, telling him how Explodey is amazing, but you want to know if they're dating, right? Yes, I believe that's the human term for the time of courtship. Well, I don't think courting is the right word for what they're doing. I think they just love each other and want to be together. Kaminari says, matter-of-factly. But Izuku's a dragon. Bakugo's a human. They can't be together. Hitoshi's words have a mournful weight to them, but Kaminari just laughs. The dragon can't help but look quizzily at the blonde. I'm sorry, but you really don't know Bakugo. Denki says, getting his laughter under control. Such a small thing will never stop him from getting what he wants. When Explodey puts something in his mind, he doesn't give up on it. Ever. The dragon cocks an eyebrow to that complication. So, you think they'll find a way to be together? I'm sure they will, Kaminari answers with a beautiful smile. Hitoshi and Kaminari end up slowly walking around the village, talking for most of the day. It doesn't seem to matter the snails are outrunning them. Their focus was completely on each other and their conversation. Hitoshi learned several things about the humans that he never thought before, like their power structure, their relationships, their everyday life, and at the same time, taught Kaminari about how it is to be a dragon, why they keep their magic powers hidden, how their quirks work. That involuntarily leads to the subject of Hitoshi's quirk. So, Izuku has strength and overall power increase, Tenya has super speed when flying and running, Mina has acid spit as well as fire, while Shoto has fire and ice, Ochako can make things levitate? Kaminari counts every dragon thoroughly. And you? What's your special power? Hitoshi closes his eyes and turns his head to the side. The dragons in the archipelago usually walk away from him when they hear about his quirk. That's why he works on his own, alone, in his nest. Izuku is the only dragon who has never looked at him warily because of his quirk, and Hitoshi believes that's only because the green dragon couldn't control his own powers. But Kaminari is different, isn't he? He hasn't looked with fear in his eyes towards Hitoshi, not even once, and the small human has every reason to do so. It'll be much easier for Hitoshi to hunt the Viking with his size in his nature form, but than to use his quirks, so maybe there isn't any issue in telling the blonde about his powers. I can control other dragons. My words take hold of their thoughts and actions, and they can't fight against my commands. Hitoshi says quietly. He doesn't know what kind of face the human is making, for Hitoshi isn't brave enough to look at Kaminari. However, after a time he hears, "Wow, that's incredible! It's so cool! Does it work on humans? Or maybe you don't know because you've never met one. Let's try! Tell me to do something!" Hitoshi looks at the blonde, supplied. Is he crazy? Does he have any sense of self-preservation? Asking for a mind-controlling dragon to use his magic on a small and fragile human? What? No, that's not a good idea. The dragon protests. Why not? We won't find out if your powers work on humans if we don't try. Kaminari argues, pouting. It's too dangerous. You're too delicate for us to try something like that. Hitoshi reasons. I'm not delicate. I'm a warrior Viking like everyone else. Alright, I may struggle with the axe, but I'm good enough with spears. It doesn't matter how good you are with spears. Because if I use my quirk on you, you won't be even able to pick up your own weapon. I know, isn't that neat? You can stop whole wars without anyone getting hurt. Better, you can convince my mom to never serve fermented beans again. The human says, jumping with excitement. Hitoshi rolls his eyes, trying to be annoyed, but a small smile tugs on his lips. What are fermented beans? Oh, you've never had them before? They are this disgusting food my dad loves, so Mom makes them every time. They stink up the whole house, and Kaminari starts ranting. Then he stops himself and looks at Hitoshi with furrowed eyebrows. Hey, you're trying to distract me. Me? I'd never, Hitoshi says. But the teasing smirk on his face states otherwise. No, that is not how you do it. Your front paw has to hold your weight while your hinder paws is to extend to the back. Tenya, Boaster's voice, takes them out of their little bubble. They look around to find Kirishima and Tenya at some distance away from them. Kirishima was on all fours on the ground with his face on the fluffy grass of the field around the village, while Tenya was karate chopping the air while giving instructions. But I don't have paws, and my knees don't bend this way, the redhead cries. Let's go save him, Hitoshi asks. Kaminari and his human companion nods while holding back a chuckle. They quickly walk towards the other two, or else Tenya might have seriously injured Kirishima. Up! The higher left needs to be up higher, Tenya coaches, pulling Kirishima's leg by the ankle until the Viking is crying in pain. My legs don't go that high. They're not long enough. Hitoshi takes Tenya's hand out of the human's leg because he's pretty sure human legs aren't supposed to be that way. I think that's enough, he says to his friend. Hey, what are you guys up to? Are you training? Kaminari asks curiously, while looking at the beast's down form on Kirishima on the ground. No, I am assisting Kirishima in how to properly court Mina. Tenya answers enthusiastically. What we saw before was an absolute embarrassment. No wonder Mina couldn't say yes. That was the most subpar attempt at mating pled that I've ever seen. So now we're getting the procedure right. But my body doesn't go the proper movements for the courting dance. Kirishima sits on the floor with a depressed expression. Now Mina will never accept to marry me. That is not the right attitude, Kirishima. If you decide to be Mina's mate, you can't get up because the dance is complicated. We gotta try even harder until you do it correctly. Tenya urges him on. Are you sure that's wise, Tenya? We still haven't heard back from Shoto, and honestly, I doubt Mina herself knows all the steps to the courting dance. Hitoshi Tai's reasoning. Once decided to court the mate, the love shouldn't be dependent on third parties. You have to do your best and work hard to show you'll be a good mate, Tenya retorts. Exactly. I can't just keep waiting. I need to show Mina that I'm in for this real, and I'm not afraid to brave the hardships with her, Kirishima completes passionately. Yeah, go for it, man. Dance your socks off. Kaminari agrees excitedly. How can we help? You grab his right front paw while I raise his hinder legs. This will have to put him in the proper position, Tenya says, and he and Kaminari move quickly to start pulling Kirishima's limbs. Wait. Hitoshi intervenes. Alright, we'll teach him the courting dance, but I'm sure the dance can be adapted to his human body. We need to follow the traditions, Hitoshi, Tenya says seriously. Yes, we do, but I believe the principle of the dance is more important than the movements themselves, and the principle is to showcase yourself as limber, gracious, and strong. There's nothing limber and gracious in what you two are doing so far, and the only strong thing is the pain Kirishima must be feeling. Tenya stops for a second, holding his own chin in thought. Alright, I can see your point, but how are we going to show he is gracious? I've been working for him the whole day, and that hasn't been apparent yet. We have dances, lots of dances. Maybe we could take some of the movements from them? Kaminari says. That's an idea we could consider, but first we'd have to see the dances to see if they're appropriate. Kirishima gets off the floor and beats the dirt out of his pants. He and Kaminari exchange a few words, and then they're dancing. Kaminari's movements are almost like a fight, flash, and prestige. Kaminari's are much more fluid. It's almost as if he's moving inside water. Hitoshi gets enthralled by how beautiful the human body can move. The dragon courting dance is much more primal and functional. It shows movements they normally do while hunting and fishing. However, the human move in a way that showcase their limbs in the most appealing way. The way they twist their torso has no clear purpose besides showing off how nice they look. They spent quite a good portion of the day helping Kirishima and Tenya put together a dance that the human would perform and the dragon thought was acceptable. The end result is a little awkward, and Hitoshi honestly doesn't think Mina will mind. From how he saw the pink dragon scenting and petting the human, this whole courting process is futile. She's already completely smitten by the red-haired Viking. But Hitoshi can't say it isn't entertaining to watch Kirishima work so hard to win her affections. The violet dragon begins to understand why Mina and Izuku seem so fascinated by these little humans. When Tenya pulls Kirishima away, dabbling about the need to fix his nest, Hitoshi sees himself alone with Kaminari again. I hope everything goes well with the dance, the blonde says, watching the pair leave in the distance. I'm sure it's going to be alright. I think Mina likes Kirishima well enough to be pleased with any kind of dance he shows her. I wish you're right. I've never seen Kirishima so in love with someone. It's cute. Kaminari giggles. And what now? What do you want to do? I don't know. Hitoshi says calmly. I came to see if Izuku was alright. Now that I know he's fine, I'm just killing time before Shota decides we should go back to the archipelago. Oh, so you really go away any time now? Kaminari says with a sad expression. But I can come back, Hitoshi says before he realizes what he said. All that he knows is that he doesn't like seeing Kaminari sad. It's not that far away. I can come visit you. Kaminari's face opens up in a smile instantly, and that tugs on Hitoshi's heart. Really? That'd be great. There's still so much we didn't talk about. I need to show you how stinky the Vermurden beans are. Oh, and we need to test to see if your quirk works on humans. I still don't think that's a good idea, Kaminari, Hitoshi says, shaking his head. Denki. What? You can call me Denki, since I call you Hitoshi. You dragons don't have family names, so it seems silly for you to call me Kaminari. Hitoshi doesn't really understand what is the big deal about calling the blonde human Denki instead of Kaminari, but he recognizes that it must be important by the blush adorning the human's face. All right, Denki, the dragon says, testing the sounds of the word on his mouth. Yeah, just like that. Kaminari gives him an embarrassed smile. Yeah, I still think it's a good idea to test your quirk on me. It's dangerous. You might get hurt. What? No way, I'll be under your control, right? Kaminari asks, and Hitoshi nods. So how will I get hurt? I know you won't let me hurt myself. Hitoshi laughs softly at the boy's reasoning and shakes his head. Come on, I want to know how Hitoshi's magical powers feel like, Denki pleads. Oh. Do you? Hitoshi asks, raising an eyebrow. Yes, the Viking answers happily. All right then, stay still, Hitoshi says, urging his quirk forward. Immediately, Denki's eyes go glossy. The boy has a soft and dazed expression in his face. Hitoshi knows his power worked on the human just as well as it works on dragons. Now what will he do with Denki? He needs to make the blonde's body move, or else the boy won't believe Hitoshi actually used his power on him. Give me your hand, Hitoshi commands, extending his own hand towards Denki. The Viking puts his hand on top of the dragon's. So soft and small, so different from their paws. It's fascinating, the number of things humans can make with their limb little hands. Hitoshi lets go and says, Put your hand on your head. Denki obeys, mindlessly, completely at Hitoshi's will. He is certainly understanding what Mina and Izuku see in the humans. They aren't what the legends say of them. They aren't mean and brutish. There's nothing remotely aggressive or untrustworthy about Denki. Hitoshi can understand the pull of staying close to a human like him. Tilt your head to the side and show me your neck, Hitoshi says before he can control himself, and Denki moves at his will. The dragon takes one step closer and runs the tip of his nose in Denki's jaw before tilting his head and rubbing his neck against the human's neck. Scenting in this form won't really leave any scent behind, but something inside the dragon feels good about doing it anyways. Maybe Denki won't understand that scenting is an act made between close friends and dragons who care about each other deeply. But Hitoshi knows, and what he feels brave enough of doing to show his feelings for the human who's willingly let himself fall under the dragon's quirk. Denki's so sure Hitoshi would never let the boy get hurt that it warmed the dragon's heart like nothing else before. After scenting, Hitoshi takes one step back and wills his quirk to turn off. Denki's expression, mortified from daze, and lost to a little confused, and then a beautiful smile. Hey, you put me in that funny position. What was I supposed to be? A teapot? Denki chuckles, tapping his own head at his hand. Hitoshi just shrugs with a small smile. I don't know what a teapot is. Denki drops his arm to the side with an impressed expression on his face. You've never had tea? Man, I need to show you. I think Mom has some honey back home. Denki takes Hitoshi's hand and pushes him to walk. Let's go, it's so delicious, you're gonna love it. At that moment, Hitoshi decides that he needs to do everything in his power to guarantee Denki's blind trust in him isn't in vain. He can't let Shoto decide to wipe this whole village and the humans in it. The Violet Dragon will have to talk to the young elder to see what he's thinking about doing in this situation. After he tries the tea, of course. Not much to say. This is a very interesting chapter, obviously. We get a little bit of Denki Shin? What is the ship name? I used to ship this. What is the ship name? I say used to. I still ship it. I just ship Shindeku a whole lot more than I ship Denki and Shinso. I don't know why. The switch happened. I used to be like a huge shipper of that. Same with Bakugo and Kirishima. That used to be like a big ship of mine. Like that was like a big one. And then that switched over to BKDK. Like, do not get me wrong. I still ship the other two, right? I still ship Shinso and Denki. I still ship Bakugo with Kirishima. But I have other ships that I like more and other pairings with those characters that I like more. Like, I like Kirishima with Mina. I really like it. Childhood friends. Love that. I really love Shindeku. I have an obsession with Shindeku right now, and I don't think that's leaving me anytime soon. So, yeah, I really love Shindeku so much. I really love it. I really love it. But, yeah, I don't really have much to say other than, that was a cute little chapter. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.